The more we ask about RESPs, Registered Education Savings Plan, the less and less hands go up. Like we did a school last week. It was when we asked about, what a RESP is and if anybody knew, it was about 3 kids out of 60.
So welcome to, this is our first IG Live doing a podcast. And we're doing the IG Live because YouTube, you need 50 subscribers. So we're reaching out to you guys to log on to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Help us get to 50 subscribers so that we can go live on YouTube. Now, Instagram is gonna hate because we're taking them off the platform, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, right? So this is something Craig and myself said that we're gonna be doing on a week-to-week basis, every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Yeah, we're a bit late, we're on Black people time, but don't watch that. And we're just having engaging conversation about world topics that we find are fascinating. We also have a segment called Checks and Strikes of the Week. And we're just introducing new things each week. So if there's something specific that you guys want to see, just let us know down in the comments or DM us to let us know what you want to see. So Craig and myself, we started this company almost 5 years ago, so 4 years right now, during the height of COVID. It's about this time that we kind of had the idea to write a book, talk about financial literacy, because that's something that is not being taught at home or in the school system. It's trickling in now, but we said, you know what, let's be somebody to provide a solution instead of being, somebody on the sidelines just complaining about it. And that leads us into our first topic today, which was Craig and myself were having a conversation. We're like, I called him, I said, you know what, parents don't care. And he's like, yo, that's so true. I had this conversation with somebody. And when we say they don't care, yes, you love your child, whatnot. Some parents, you might get a bit, aggravated about this, but a lot of parents, and we're literally in the school system seeing this. So we're calling a spade. Parents don't care. Like kids are asking us questions about financial literacy and inviting their parents to come to like family nights that we organize in schools. And the turnouts are very low. Like it's actually sad. Like our first family night, there was probably 11 parents. Like the school has a population of 600 and only 11 parents came out. To me, that's sad. And it was, hey, it's around money. Why wouldn't you? One, if your relationship's not good with money, why wouldn't you come out? Two, if your child is eager to learn about money, why aren't you coming out? Why aren't you saying, all right, let's go? We're quick to throw them into nothing against swimming, but swimming, soccer, and all
Basketball.
these things, but not learning. What do you even call this? Do you call this a soft skill to learn about money?
You could consider it a soft skill. I could say that.
Or an everyday life skill.
It's a fundamental life skill, yes.
Yes.
Just like swimming. I think swimming is something that you need. Money, same thing. You need to understand what money is and what it can do for you.
So it's like, why wouldn't you want to go to something like that, right? It's like we shy away from these conversations. We're embarrassed to talk about this stuff, but hey, life happens. It's just, what's funny? I learned about reproductive systems, sex ed in grade 3. You guys are teaching me something that I've never even thought about. Didn't even cross my mind until you guys brought up puberty. Puberty, okay, makes sense. But sex, condoms, and all that stuff, I was like, why do I need to know this stuff at grade 3? It made no sense to me. But now it's like financial literacy and money. It's like, why did we take so long to say, hey, this is something that people need to know about? It's sad when your kid goes to the store and you give them $5, they're buying a chocolate bar for $1 and they come back with $1. You got burned. And it's like, they don't even know that. They're just happy that they have the chocolate bar and $1 change. That's sad.
And I think where this conversation is coming from, because we're really passionate about it, is, again, as Dean mentioned, we're going to the schools, we're talking about financial literacy, and we're also talking about, just like last week, this is something that truly happened. The more we ask about RESPs, Registered Education Savings Plan, the less and less hands go up. Like we did a school last week, I'm not gonna mention the school. However, It was when we asked about, what a RESP is and if anybody knew, it was about 3 kids out of 60. And that to me just tells me that conversations are not being had at home, and or parents just don't know. And if you don't know, it's one thing, because if you don't know about something and or you're trying to learn about something and it doesn't come across to you, then hey, that's understood. But if your child is having this conversation with you and you don't know, that's a telltale sign, because an RESP is, like I said, it's a registered education savings plan. Every child should get it, just like every child between the ages of 1 and 18 get child benefit tax. Yes, we can understand that the life that or the current economy that we're living in, it's hard, it's tough, but you have to ensure you put away something for your child so they can start their journey when they become a young adult. And if they want to start their educational journey, you need to put something in the pot now, and then over a period of time, it's going to grow, especially when the government's giving you free money towards an RESP. We should have no excuse as to why we're not doing that. Again, if you don't know, you don't know. But this is why Dean and I are saying that it's really, really, it's tough when we're having these sessions at these schools, and kids have their hands up, and they're like, oh, but my dad or mom don't know about it. But this is why we're inviting the communities out to have these conversations, to have these dialogue, because again, we seem to be, as a culture, always behind the 8 ball. And again, Dean and I always talk about this. We're behind the 8 ball, but our culture is the most loved culture. Everybody wants to be like us. Again, no pun intended, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, but again, everybody wants to be like us, so why do we continue to be behind the 8 ball all the time? So we want to have these conversations, and we want to ensure that, again, like Dean says, do parents care? Let us know. Is it a situation that, again, we're living in a tough economy. Some parents have 2-3 jobs. Some households are single households. So what is it really? Like, what is it that we need to do, myself and Dean, as community heroes, to ensure that this message is sought out? This message is going to be well heard and well received, because again, it's really, really tough when we ask these questions in schools and 2 students put up their hands out of 60. It's really disheartening.
Yeah, most definitely. It's and for those going to be taking the jabs like, oh, how can you say that? I'm in this situation, I'm in that situation. No one's taking that away from you. But if you go out there seeking answers, you'll find answers. If you go out there seeking problems, you'll find problems. Like, you got to change that mindset. Like, you can't continuously say, I don't have enough, I can't do this, I can't make ends meet. There's a will, there's a way. Like, anything is possible. You just got to put a bit of effort into it. For example, oh, I can't save for my kids' RESP. I got to pay all my bills. All my thing goes directly to thing. You could cut back on, say, instead of buying Frosted Flakes, you buy the no-name brand, or just buy regular corn flakes,
Or
right?
add sugar.
Or you could even take it a step further and make your own corn flakes. If you're buying a bag of flour already, why not just make your own corn flakes, right? Mm-hmm. There's so many things on YouTube that you can do. Sometimes you just got to get creative. Like, I'm not taking it away from nobody. Like, hey, I'm like, up Shit's Creek without a paddle, but you can figure out a way. Like, for example, even if you start with $1 sounds stupid, but everybody can find $1. Mm-hmm. If you put $1 a week, even if you did that for like the kids, the 18 years that the kids think, that's $52 a year. Mm-hmm. $52 a year times 18, I don't know what the math is. We're going to say it's like $500. $500 is better than nothing. Mm-hmm. But it's at least you started something. Mm-hmm. And the moment you start with that little increment, it grows, it increases. You're going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I know I could do $1. Let me try to do $2. You're going to keep pushing your limits. It's just like doing push-ups. If you never did a push-up before, you have to start with 1. Yeah. Once you do the definitely. 1 push-up, you will be able to do 2. You'll get to 10. It's slow increments. Your situation is not going to always be in like the dirt forever. Mm-hmm. Whatever's in the ground must come up. That's the only way you grow. It's just like a seed. You're in a seed, you're in a dark place right now. Figure out, how do I burst through the ground and grow? It's as simple as, well, I wouldn't say it's as simple as that, but the analogy I'm trying to paint, it's as simple as that. Mm-hmm.
No, I just feel that again, it's just we're just not having enough conversations about how we can further ourselves, especially when it comes to financial literacy and being able to have a better understanding of money and leveraging your money so you can have a better relationship with your money. I think that because we're not having these conversations enough, we are seeing situations where we're having parents dwindle through the cracks or parents feeling overwhelmed or insecure about where their finances are going. And again, it's okay to feel that way because I know I can put my hand up. I was once there. So again, if we can have these dialogues, then we can further ourselves when it comes to educating ourselves about financial literacy because I hate to be the bad guy, but we're more quick to do other things than further ourselves when it comes to money. And let's just call a spade a spade. Again, Jordans came out last week, the cement threes. I saw there were lineups. So that just tells me that people have money to do certain things, but are you prioritizing your money? And again, we're not saying that you can't get the J's. Definitely not saying that. But are you prioritizing what you need to prioritize? Because that's what the goal is.
Yeah. And kind of going over that part that you said, like them lining up for the J's and the whatnot, and they're going straight to Instagram to show that they have it, right? And I seen a meme earlier today where it was this guy, he had 2 wads of cash by his ears. Like it wasn't a picture on Instagram or anything, but because I was doing something on AI, and it was just so funny to see that picture. And when I really something just sparked something in my head where it's like, this looks so dumb. It's like, why would you do something like that? Mind you, if you're doing it for yourself, personal reasons, whatever. Like we all have that moment when we come into a lump sum of cash, for those that have, or like say if you won the lottery, you're gonna do something stupid, something ignorant. But it's like you have that moment. Like I met people, they had that ignorant moment, but then they scaled back and say, okay, that was stupid of me to do, right? We all have those types of moments. But I kind of applaud them because they put in the hard work and effort to make that money.
Yeah.
It's like it didn't come out of thin air. They had to do something to get it. And who knows how their journey has been in order to get there, right? Like listen to some of like billionaires or millionaire stories. Some of these guys said, yo, I used to sleep in a room with like 5 people and our light didn't work and now they're millionaires. So if they were able to do it, you can too. You got to stop playing the pity party game. Go out there and look for solutions, right? Stop watching what other people are doing and say, how do I do what they're doing? Or even take it a step further, message that person and be like, yo, how did you get there? Like, what were the steps that you took?
Yeah, and it's so funny you say that because I was watching an episode of Joe Budden's podcast last week, and Joe is famous for pocket watching. He's always watching people's money, but he was like, I may watch people's money, but I'm gonna ask how you got there. Was it the discipline? Was it the sacrifice? I'm gonna ask you how I got there. I'm just not gonna pocket watch to pocket watch, because again, you'd never know someone's journey. But you can say, hey, you can have a question. You know what? Hey, how did you get that?
That's the $1 million question. People say, how can I do that? Or how do I do that? When you say whenever you put the I, you're being selfish. Now they don't want to hear you. But now, if you ask somebody, how did you get out of your situation? It's like, okay, you're leaning in to hear what I have to say instead of what your thing is, right? Most, like 9 times out of 10, they'll tell you their story. Unless they're busy and they got to go somewhere. But 9 times out of 10, they'll tell you how they got there. And that's the approach you got to take. How did you get out of your situation? And they'll be like, oh, I did this, because now you let it to be on them, the spotlight on them, opposed to yourself. So yeah, that's like the golden ticket to asking questions.
Yeah, because most people that are successful or have come from nothing to something, they want to share their story.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They want to share their story because it can be used as motivation. It can also be used as a situation in which that, hey, you know what? I was here one point, now I'm here. Sometimes it's just realizing where people are coming from to get that understanding and then automatically changing that mindset to ensure that you can, achieve or set out goals or aspirations that are attainable because you know that, hey, again, it sounds really, really corny, but again, whatever you put your mind to, it could be most definitely achieved. And that's just the truth.
where people are coming from. 2 weeks, we had the Swifties in Toronto. Where are they coming from? Go Transit is ram-packed. Downtown Toronto, Gardner, it was gridlock.
Yeah.
They shut down roads for her. I think even King Street had some stuff for her too, for like
Yeah.
Taylor Swift stuff. Like they came by like I don't even know what to call them. They came in tribes. Like I
Hey.
couldn't believe how many people. It was almost like Michael Jackson was like reincarnated.
And it's funny you say that because there were a lot of kids and parents. So I'm pocket watching Taylor Swift. On average, she had 6 concerts. I don't know if you want to do the math on this, Dean. At, let's say 50,000 people at an average ticket cost of, let's say what, $800? Is that?
I don't even know because let's say 6 to be nice.
Let's say 600. Let's just say.
She made that concert did. That's not even including merch.
Exactly.
And merch had lineups from like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
$180 million on Toronto alone. That's crazy.
That is monstrous. That's crazy. And again, it leads me to say this. People can find money for what they want to do.
Most definitely. And on top of that, resellers are selling the tickets for like 40 grand.
Yeah.
It went from a $600 ticket to 40 grand in Toronto. Toronto people don't like to pay for anything unless it's a condo. And for you guys to pay that for a Taylor Swift ticket, that just blows my mind.
And that's why I'm saying, again, if you are going to prioritize for something or you want to prioritize for something that you want to do, you're going to find the money. Mm-hmm. So let's just have that mindset, say, hey, you know what, if I'm going to prioritize for this, let me prioritize for my child. It goes back to, again, do the parents care? Again, Taylor Swift, amazing. I don't know any of her, well, I may know a few of her songs, I'm not gonna lie. But Taylor Swift, an icon, an amazing artist. And I know this is once in a lifetime seeing a mega star like this. But again, the same way that you can prioritize to buy those $800 tickets is the same way you can prioritize and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna put that money into an RESP and or teach your child, you know, what that looks like.
Have that mindset. Imagine what my child can be in the future if I put this money away now for them. That's like seed money. Mm-hmm. Like, imagine how much money LeBron James' mom invested in him as a single mom, mm-hmm. and saying, you know what, you want to play basketball? I'm going to do everything possible to allow you to play basketball. And now he's a billionaire. He's the first billionaire to be in the NBA. Yeah. Active billionaire.
And what he said with regards to that was he has to give it all the praise to his family, because he told his family, listen, in order for me to be the best, you're not going to see me. You're not going to see me. And that's a hell of a sacrifice to make. But that's why he is a billionaire, because he made those sacrifices. And at the same time, his family, you know, knew that, hey, you know what, dad may not be here at the recitals. Dad may not be at the practices. And or dad may not be able to take us where we need to be. But look where that sacrifice has brought him now.
Yep.
He's a billionaire, and I'm pretty much sure that once he retires, because he's going to retire soon.
That's if. Probably waiting for his next one.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I believe once he retires, then, hey, man, his son's in the NBA. He has another son that's on that trajectory.
I think he's going to be better than him.
Yeah, I firmly believe he's going to be better than Bronny. Yeah. No, it's true. I believe that as well. But again, that's what it takes. It takes sacrifice. And are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to put in the time? Are you willing to persevere? Because that is the key, because we all go through situations in which that we're not at our best. But what are we going to do? Are we going to wallow in our pity? Are we going to sit down in a ball and cry? And that, you know what? Cry. Cry it out. Cry it out. Have a good cry. Cry it out, and then step up to the plate.
Cry and record yourself so that you can go
Be
back.
Vulnerable.
Go back a year later when you're at the top and you're like, this is where I started and look where I am now. And it'll just give you that, it'll just humble you, you know? Just the gratitude where it's like, I let it all out and now look where I am now. Like, I see so many videos like that, like people that were literally at their wit's end and had that video, and it's like now they reflect on it. And it also gives other people motivation, like, you know, to pour into other people's cup.
Whatever you do, just don't give up.
Yeah.
That's just the thing. Like, try to finish what you start and don't give up. Because if you give up, it's never going to be a reality.
I had a question for you. And this is a part of our segment, check or strike of the week.
Oh boy.
So, what's the most embarrassing thing you did to earn extra money as a kid?
Wow. This is not only embarrassing, it's kind of teeth though. I don't know if I want I don't know if I want to discuss it. Let's keep it PG, guys. Embarrassing. I wouldn't say it was. You know what? I wouldn't say it was embarrassing. It did feel embarrassing, but for me, it was chocolate almonds.
You know, I was thinking that same thing. You know, it was the locations that they put me that made it embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy drove me all across this. At that time, we didn't have GPS systems, so I didn't know how to take the bus. The guy puts you in a van. You can't see nothing. And the man says, all right, go here and go sell chocolates. I'm like, what? Just sell chocolates?
Yeah.
Yo, the man brought me to Woodbridge one time. This is like before all the houses came there. And I was like, yo, where in the world am I? And then the man brought me, you know where they put me? They put me at beer stores. The worst spot ever. Beer stores. Why are you putting a kid? I'm 10 years old selling chocolates at a beer store. Like that was terrible. Like,
but those almonds were good though. I'm no lie. Those almonds were, I was selling those like hotcakes. At that time, it was $2, but when it had the big box, now the box is like this, and has like 10 chocolate almonds in there for $5.
You know, this is not my embarrassing story, but what my cousin used to do, God rest his soul, he would open it and then take an iron and seal it back after.
So you just eat a couple. Yeah,
it was so bad. Oh my goodness.
No, those almonds are king though. They were sweet back in the day.
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't say it was embarrassing, but kids don't try this at home. I did. I used to get the matches and make match bombs and sell them at school. The amount of people that got in trouble because of me, because I made those. So I don't know if I have an embarrassing.
So you're a pyrotech basically.
Yeah, like anything fire, I always got involved with it. It was bad, but yeah, that's what I did that I'm embarrassed about when I was doing what I used to do in high school. Yeah, it was bad. Like you just hear pop, pop, pop in the hallways.
How much you sell them for, if you don't mind me asking that?
I think it was like 50 cents for one, but I would sell them by like the bag, so I'd get like $10 a bag or whatever. Okay. I'd get that whole bag of thing, the match, like the 50 pack, and then a roll of tape and just fill the bag and sell it to people. It was so bad. Yeah. And then my other question is, what's the funniest financial advice you've actually tried to follow?
Funniest financial advice.
I don't know if I have any as funny.
I wouldn't say they're funny. They're desperate.
Funny. I don't think I have. What do you guys have as funny advice that you would try to follow? Leave it down in the comments and let us know.
Yeah.
Also, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link down below. If you're watching this on Instagram, head over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Remember, our goal is to hit 50 so that we can go live on YouTube. So Craig, we have one last topic to discuss, and that is...
Did we do a checks or strike segment? Or did that?
No, that was it. But you had the whiteboard moment. Did you...
Well...
with the budgeting and expenses. That was your whiteboard moment. So
well,
I'm going to bring this in for Craig's whiteboard moment.
Well, you know what it was? And since I'll stand up, so you guys don't see my shoes. The whiteboard moment was just something that I thought about. And again, this just goes back to when you're struggling or when you say you can't do something. For me, what works for me, and I guess what can work for anybody, but you got to start writing things down. So if you have a situation in which that you're in a tight situation, let's just say that you have more money leaving your account than coming in, and you have bills. So a lot of people will say, hey, listen, I can't save. It's not happening. Try to go back and ask yourself, or look back at your accounts itself and ask yourself, okay, well, if I'm paying all my bills and I don't have, or I don't have enough money coming in, what are some of the things I can remove from spending? And again, I'm guaranteeing you, if you do this and you go through your bank account and you go line by line, you will find something that you can remove. Secondly, again, let's think about a hustle. Let's think about a side hustle that you can do to help generate some income. And again, the reason why I say it's a whiteboard moment, again, I have a whiteboard at home, write it down, whatever it is. So let's just say you have a side hustle. Let's just say a side hustle to what? Dean, help me out there. What's a side hustle nowadays? Uber. So you have a side hustle to go around and deliver food, right? So again, you got to ask yourself, okay, with Uber, I don't know how it works, but I'll try to explain it as much as possible from my perspective. So you got to think, okay, Uber, how many times am I going to drive per week, right? Write that down. So how much time can I allocate to Uber? Secondly, the time you allocate in what regions. I don't know, Dean, if you can help me out. If it's a region perspective thing, if it's region that you can go and try to make as much money. Again, I don't know how Uber works with regards to how you get.
Well, you can drive across the city. So
Area
Toronto.
selected. So Toronto. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we'll say a person has an additional 10 hours, or
Okay.
they use 10 hours in their
10 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you have an additional 10 hours. You can try to either 10x this, or again have a goal. So let's just say you have additional 10 hours for the week, and it could be any day of the week. You allocate those 10 hours. So let's just say we'll go a 5-day work week if you want, or a 7-day work week. So if you're looking at 10 hours for 5 days, that's 2 hours a day, or 2 hours at evening or afternoon. So now if you have 2 hours every evening to drive around and do Uber, now you can say, okay, there's a dollar amount I want. And I guess, Dean, if you're driving Uber, I guess it goes by orders. Like, how does it really work?
Well, if you just do regular Uber, it's per trip, but average you can make, let's say, like $20.
$20?
Yeah, $20. $25 an hour.
$25 an hour?
Yeah.
Okay. So $25 an hour, you got your 2 hours, that equals $50, right? You do that 5 times in a week, $50 times 5 is what? $250? So there you go. There's $250 that you didn't have. So now what you can do with that $250 is prioritize that $250. Okay, what do you want to do with that $250? Where can that $250 go? And again, a lot of people say, hey, I got to go out and pay those bills. Or I have a chance to do something I didn't have. So again, it's a side hustle. A side hustle is exactly what it is, and it's exactly what it sounds like. A side hustle. Find out the time that you could put into it, see how you can monetize it, and then when you monetize it, then you break it down. Once you break it down and say, hey, I can make an additional $250, then now you got to be smart with that $250. What are you doing with that $250? And this can only work if you have that understanding of how to leverage it. So if your relationship is not good with money, this $250 may be just going to something else, such as partying, Starbucks, whatever it may be, a new pair of shoes. You've worked for it, but now you're reallocating it to places that don't make sense for you. So again, you want to be able to break down how many hours you can put into it, monetize it. Once you monetize it, then okay, what can I make from it? And you go from there. So that is this week's whiteboard moment. If you guys should have any whiteboard moments you want to share with us, put it in the comments and we'll talk about it. We'll come on the whiteboard, we'll talk about it, we'll break it down. This whole objective, or for us, is again to create more dialogue, talk about things, and see how we can uplift one another. Because that is what is the real key thing is, uplifting one another to get to the promised land. And promised land, whatever that may be for you, may be different for me. But again, once we're uplifting and we're teaching and we're learning, there's no longer L's we're taking. We're taking those L's and turning those L's and turning into lessons, and then making money from those lessons. So that is checks over strikes. 0 checks to your name. Sorry. No checks to your name. No checks to your name.
Checks in your name, no strikes
Sorry,
against
checks
it.
to your name, no strikes in it. No strikes against it, guys. It's a long day. But again, we'll see you next week.